Lately I've been spending a lot of time working on my zombie game, which is still a long way in development. Right now all videos on my channel are about this game. And it started to get quite repetitive and boring. Working on one game for a long time, not even knowing if it will do good, all my videos hover around 50 views each. So I got an idea to do something different and more interesting, some sort of a challenge. It's a popular concept in game dev YouTube. I'm talking about making a game in 7 days. And I already have an idea of what game I'm going to do, as lately I've been playing through the Devil May Cry games. I completed DMC 1 and DMC 2, and right now I'm playing through the third game. So the idea is to make a fighting game inspired by Devil May Cry games, and I only have 7 days to do so. So I created a new place in Roblox Studio and started working on a way player is going to hold his weapon. At first I tried to just copy the system I already created for my other game, but quickly found out that the system I've made only works on first-person shooters and it's not gonna cut it for a third-person game. So I casually just lost most of the first day while trying to make it work, and now I have to start working on some other system from scratch. So I went for a system where I just glue the weapon to the player when equipping and delete it when unequipping. It's the most basic system, but seems to work quite well, so I'm sticking with it, as I don't have enough time to look for any extravagant solutions. Before scripting anything, I wanted to make some base animations for the first weapon. Also, the starting weapon is just a basic sword plus gun combo, not from the game, but all other weapons will be from the Devil May Cry games, so the 3 weapons for the release of the game are going to be the basic sword and gun, Dante's Rebellion with Ebony and Ivory, and Virgil's Yamato. I had to make a script that would play those animations in game. It didn't took me long, as playing animations is easy, but I can't say the same thing about setting up player camera, as I wanted to make the camera look like in all of those third-person games, where camera sits behind player's shoulder instead of right behind him, but it turned out like this. It looks horrible, and I don't even have any idea how it turned out like this, but whatever, I'm sure I can fix it. Well, I didn't. It still does not work, but we're making progress. At least it's not stuck to the player's arm no more, and the camera is where it should be, so that's something. Finally, I got it to work. After around 1 to 2 hours of changing and testing things, it started to work as intended. So now, with the basics done, I could start making the combat system. First, I just made the basic combo, and clicking N1, the character will do a chain of attacks. After that, I added the ability to sprint and made the sprint attack. The sprint attack animation looks horrible though, so I'll replace it later. It was time to do some sort of hit detection so that players could fight each other. For that, I took some random blood VFX from the workshop, as I have completely no idea how to make my own VFXs. So I coded the hit detection, and while at it, I also added the jump attack and made it stun players after hitting them. Also, I had to add a local script that would show the hitboxes in-game, as without that, it would be hard to set the correct size. And thanks to that, I could make the hitboxes work as they should. Instead of hitting everything around the player, they're only going to hit stuff in front of him. Now I have to do the rest of those animations, as before I only had M1s and movements. And now I still have to do guard, parry and M2s. And that's how the M2's combo turned out. The animation looks pretty clean. Also, I already added them to the code, but I'm going to have to figure out some way to make the guns long range. I tried to make the guns shoot a bullet projectile that would just move in a straight line, but I had no idea how to actually code something like this, so I just decided to make the hitboxes longer for when you're shooting a bullet. Next, I started working on the parry system. Also, the parry system needs some sort of particles when blocking or parrying, like in Sekiro, so I had to code the particle system while working at parrying. For the system, I went with the local particle generation so that the server won't get too messy or laggy, which means that the particles are going to be played separately in local scripts for each player. You don't have to know how it works, just know that it will reduce the amount of lag on the server, or at least it should, but I don't know what I'm doing, so I might be wrong. Also, to test the player's ability to parry, I had to make this guy. For some reason it took me like 3 hours to make him. It was just error after error, a classic game development moment. After that I got a couple of VFX packs from the Roblox toolbox and wanted to add them to my animations so that they look better. I really like this slash effect, it looks really well made. I finished adding VFXs to basic attacks and added dashes. When attacking, the player will do a short dash in a direction he's headed, and when the player would press Q on keyboard, he will perform a long range dash that also works as a dodge. With basic combat done, it was time to add the style ranking, which for anyone that haven't played the Devil May Cry games, it's like a meter of how good of a combo you're doing. It goes from D to triple S, it doesn't do anything special in the games, it's just cool, and at the end of the level, depending on how high was your style, you get points to upgrade your character. But here I want to make it an important part of the combat system. So basically you are going to get your rank by either dealing damage to other players or parrying them, and you're gonna lose part of your rank while getting hit or not fighting, or by getting parried by someone else. And depending on your rank, you're gonna get different boosts, such as more damage and more health regen the higher your rank is. And on the rank C, you're gonna be able to use your first skill, and on rank B, you're gonna unlock your second skill. That way, the whole combat will revolve around the style rank, so that you'll want to parry your opponents and not get hit by them. And those rank images, I just stole them from some mod from DMC3, as I couldn't find them anywhere else. I also just took the music from DMC5 and made a system that depending on your rank, the music progresses. The only thing I hope for is that my game won't get banned for copyright infringement. And now, having the rank system done, I can make the abilities for the base weapon. This one I kinda based on the Swordmaster stance from DMC3, where Dante spins his rebellion, and the second skill will be just a normal charged gunshot. And that's how the finished version looks. I added audio, VFXs, and UI with cooldowns. Also, don't mind about audio quality, it's just a problem with OBS, as in game it sounds good, but on the recording the audio quality turns to shit for no reason at all. Before adding more weapons, I need to make the shop UI, so that the player will have a place where they can buy those weapons up. I forgot to record the process of me making the UI, but I finished it. Only thing left here is to add the descriptions to weapons and their abilities, but I'll do it after adding them to the game. Also, I had to make a data store so that the game remembers how much money player has and which weapons he already bought. I've heard before that making data stores in Roblox is the hardest part to code, but it was quite easy, I don't know. It doesn't seem that complicated, maybe they meant the data store in those games with big inventory systems, because I see how that could be hard. Now it was time to finally add those other weapons. I didn't have enough time to model them myself, so I just had to take the weapons models from the toolbox. And after tweaking those weapons a little, I was able to make the player hold all of them and change between weapons. I finished working on the animations in Blender, and this is how they turned out. And this is how all the weapons look finished. I've added VFX to all their attacks. I've also added that the skill icons in the bottom left change depending on which weapon you're holding. Overall, the combat is quite fun, as I tested with my friends and we did have quite a lot of fun, but they had problems with figuring out the combat on their own, and I don't know if it's because the combat is complicated or are they just mentally challenged, or it might even be both. But either way, I'll add some sort of UI telling players the keybinds and some basics of the combat system. So now the core part of the game is done, and the only thing left for me to do is make them up and play some 1v1 arenas on it. And that's what exactly I'm doing right now. For the design of the map, I want to go with some sort of an island floating in the air with like dark or gloomy vibes. So that's what the map looks like. The vibe is what I wanted to go for and visually looks pleasing. Also, there are 4 arenas for 1v1s here. The small spiky islands are those arenas, and those big green islands are space where players can fight normal FFA fights, like in all of those other Battlegrounds games. The last thing left before finishing is adding this how to play UI I was talking about before. I'll just show some keybinds in the corner of the player's screen and add a button that will tell players some important things about the game and the combat in general. And that is everything. I finished the game with around half a day left before the 7th day mark, so now I'll just add a couple of thumbnails and other images to the Roblox page of the game and we're set. And I got banned. GG.